Imagine waking up and seeing $2,000 suddenly land in your bank account. Sounds too good to be true, right?
One of the first things that I want to do when our new senators are seated is deliver the $2,000 checks to the American families.
How we got to the level of $2,000, we all know how we got to that level. The President of the United States said that's the level he supports.
But now, one congressman just made a move that could make that dream a reality, all while Washington is in complete chaos. Look at this. The government shutdown is dragging on, prices are climbing again, and millions of Americans are barely getting by. The question now, is this $2,000 stimulus check our last hope, or just another broken promise? Hey everyone, it's Elyze. Welcome back to the channel that keeps you updated on Social Security, stimulus checks, and everything that affects your retirement and wallet. If you're new here, hit that like button and subscribe because what I'm about to share could directly impact your next paycheck. All right, let's dive in. But the storm before the check. Americans are struggling. From groceries to gas, everything feels like it costs double compared to a few years ago. And now, with the ongoing government shutdown, experts warn that things could get even worse. Look at this headline. Government shutdown could delay federal payments and trigger economic slowdown. That means delays in Social Security updates, Medicare payments, and yes, even stimulus proposals. But in the middle of all this, something unexpected happened. A new $2,000 stimulus check proposal was just introduced in Congress. And this isn't just any random talk. It's coming from lawmakers who say President Trump's tariff policies are forcing middle-class Americans to pay more than ever. But here's where things get wild, because one Republican senator and one Democrat are now both hinting that Americans might actually get cash back from these tariffs. Let me explain how. Remember earlier this year when Trump talked about using money from tariffs to help the American people? He called it a kind of dividend for taxpayers because, in his words, Americans paid the price for stupid leadership and got nothing in return.
I mean, there's a concept of making you could call it a dividend, as we would say, making a dividend to the people in this country who have had to suffer through stupid leadership, and they paid a lot of taxes.
Now, Senator Josh Hawley took that idea and turned it into a plan called the American Worker Rebate Act. It offers $600 for every adult, $600 for every dependent, and $1,200 for couples, up to $2,400 for families of four. But there's more. Behind closed doors, some lawmakers are now suggesting raising that rebate to $2,000 per person if tariffs continue to collect record revenue from China and other trading partners. However, not everyone agrees. Senator Bernie Moreno pushed back hard, saying, "We have a $37 trillion national debt. We can't afford to send out checks again." So who's right? Can America really afford another stimulus, or would this trigger another inflation wave like 2021? Stay with me, because the answer might surprise you. The shutdown effect and the price crisis. Right now, because of the shutdown, millions of Americans are caught in financial limbo. Federal workers are unpaid, Social Security offices are short-staffed, and analysts are warning this could delay the 2026 COLA announcement for seniors. At the same time, inflation is creeping back. Recent reports show stagflation, a dangerous mix of high prices and slow growth, might be returning. Economists blame, in part, the tariff wars and inconsistent government spending. Meanwhile, the cost of everyday life is spiraling. Grocery prices are up 21% in just 3 years. Rent is up nearly 28%. Medicare Part B premiums are expected to rise again in 2026. That means the average senior's COLA increase, just $54 per month, will get wiped out completely by higher medical costs. So yes, people are desperate for relief. And that's why Representative Khanna, a Democrat from California, just proposed something bold, a $2,000 direct payment to anyone earning under $100,000 a year. He says this will offset Trump's tariffs that have jacked up prices for working-class families. But here's the twist. If both Trump supporters and Democrats agree that tariffs hurt consumers, could this be the one bipartisan check America actually gets? Let's break this down in simple terms. If the proposal passes, every eligible American could receive a $2,000 direct deposit funded by tariff revenue, not new taxes. That means it wouldn't add as much to the national debt compared to previous stimulus packages. Trump himself hinted that part of the new tariff income could go back to hardworking Americans who deserve a break. So, in theory, this isn't about free money. It's about returning what's already been collected from trade penalties and using it to help low- and middle-income families who've been hit hardest by rising prices. But the fight in Congress is intense. Some lawmakers say, we need to use that money to pay down debt. Others argue, families can't wait, they need relief now. And with the 2026 election cycle already heating up, there's one big question: will the next stimulus check become the centerpiece of Trump's comeback campaign? There's another layer to this story, and it's hitting America's most vulnerable citizens. Right now, the new SNAP food stamp rule says if you work more than 80 hours a month, you lose eligibility for benefits. But if you don't work enough hours, you're also disqualified. It's a no-win situation. Seniors, disabled adults, and low-income workers are all caught in this bureaucratic trap. And when combined with higher Medicare costs, rent hikes, and food prices, it's creating a silent crisis. Economists say a $2,000 payment could act like a mini stimulus, giving people enough breathing room to catch up on bills, avoid debt, and stabilize local economies. Even conservative analysts admit it could help rural areas hit hardest by tariffs. But here's what most Americans don't realize: there's a deadline for this decision. And if it's missed, the $2,000 check could disappear before it even reaches a vote. The political game behind the check. As of now, both sides are using this proposal as a political weapon. Democrats are framing it as relief for families hurt by Trump's trade wars. Republicans call it returning money to taxpayers, not handouts. And President Trump himself? He's walking a fine line, saying he supports helping Americans, but also wants to use tariffs to reduce debt. This tug-of-war could determine whether a check ever reaches your mailbox. Still, there's growing support online. On social media, hashtags like #ISupportStimulusCheck and #TariffRebate2025 are trending among frustrated Americans demanding action. So if you agree, let your voice be heard. Drop a comment below saying, I support stimulus checks. Because remember, if people stay silent, nothing changes. Here's the truth: people are tired of promises. They don't want speeches or excuses. They just want fairness. If tariffs and government policies made life harder, then returning that money back to the people, the ones who paid for it, makes sense. Whether you're a retiree on Social Security, a working parent trying to keep the lights on, or someone juggling rent and food costs, that $2,000 could mean the difference between surviving and sinking. So stay tuned, because this debate isn't over. In fact, it's just heating up. If this bill gains traction, it could reshape America's entire approach to economic relief before the next election. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the notification bell, and smash that like button, because the moment Congress makes a move, I'll be here to break it all down for you. I'm Elyze. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.